Yes, my people, so today I'm gonna break down a really unique sounding loop for someone like Rylo Rodriguez. This one, I made it last night and it came out crazy, so I knew I had to just drop a tutorial on it real quick. Okay, so with this loop, there's a lot of layers and there's a lot of processing that's gone into it. So let's just get straight into it and break it down. So we've started off really simply by just playing these chords with a one-shot pluck. So for the effects on that, we added this precision, MK2, a micro pitch, a dual harmonizer, and then an EQ. Then once we exported it out, I decided I wanted to make this very bouncy. So as you can see, I've come in here and I've made lots of chops into that loop. So now it sounds like this. And we also added a second lot of effects. So for the second effects, a tape, a sound shifter going down an octave, and then a sound shifter going up an octave. It gives it like a lot of weird, cool textures when you do that. Then I added a S1 imager to widen the sound, a compressor, and then an EQ. So the one shot we used is really thin. So now I want to go in with a few other sounds and really thicken it up. We started with this analog lab preset from my Champions multi-kit. It's called Downtown, and we played the same chords as we did for the Pluck, but I've matched it. So where we made the chops in the Pluck, I've also chopped this MIDI, so I want the pauses, so it sounds like this. And for the effects on that, very simple. Just a reverb, a EQ, cutting out some mids, S1 imager, and then an EQ cutting out all of the low end. Next up, we just added another pad. This is from my Bliss one-shot kit. And all I've done with the pad is just turn the attack up a little bit. And it sounds like this. Same chords as the previous pad, the exact same. And the effects are the same as the previous pad as well. And lastly, for the layering, I added one more pad. It's this Sign Beauty, again from my Champions analog lab bank. And the goal with this one was to I wanted something very subtle, but that also fills out the space at the same time. So we used the same chords yet again, but I've just copied them up one octave. So they're just the lower octave and the higher octave. And this one sounds like this. And again, it's just got the same effects as the last two pads. Okay, so the next thing we added was a bass. In this loop, I've got two basses. I wanted like a subtle bass in the first part and then a proper sub bass in the second half. So for the first half, we used this bass from Expand, and it's the double bass preset, and it just sounds like this. Again, I wanted it to copy the theme of like stop start and making it bouncy. I didn't want it playing the whole way through like I normally do with my basses. Then for the effects, we just got an EQ and then a decapitator. The main thing is turning up the drive, so it just makes it a bit more thick. Next, I just added this lead from Repro 5, and this lead is super simple, but I feel like it makes the sample, it just takes it to another level. So this is the MIDI that we played, and then I just exported it out. and it sounds like this now. And for the effects on that lead, it's just a pancake, a reverb, S1 imager, and an EQ. The reason it sounds like it does is because I exported it and pitched it down. That's why it has that cool effect to it. Okay, and then the last part of the intro for the loop is these vocals from Splice, and they just sound like this. And for the effects on that, a reverb, LFO tool to make it pulse, a flanges, a pancake, a delay, and then an EQ. And then to get the cool effect that the vocal has, I just double time the speed, so it's just playing at ×2, and it just gives it a really cool effect. So for the second half of the loop, we use the same pluck as the first half, but just without the chops. So that now sounds like this. And then you can see we added these little accents here as well. How I made them was I just ran this melody through my guitar pedals, and then once I had it in there, I just made a lot of chops and I just found something that I liked. The pads we used in the intro stay the same, we just copied them over. But to thicken it up yet again, we used this preset from Analog Lab. It's a packer bag, again from our Champions multi-kit, and that sounds like this. And for the effects on that, I've got a reverb, a chorus, and then just the EQ. Everything else is turned off. And then we also changed the bass in the second half. So we went from a plucked bass to a sub bass. And the sub bass is from Anna 2, and it's the Reese main preset. And it just sounds like this. And the last thing we added just to wrap it all up was another vocal from Splice, using the same technique that we used in the first one. So we just double timed the speed just to give it a cool effect. And now it sounds like this. And then just to take the sample just to that next level, just to finish it all off, we exported it all. I pitched it up from 142 to 153 BPM, and we pitched it up by 2. Yes, my people, so that's the finished loop. I had loads of fun making this one. I had to do a quick tutorial on how I made it. I've just been focusing on making a lot less samples recently, but higher quality. If you want any of the kits that were used in this video, just click the links below and they'll all be there. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.